today's show is going to be a little more different. We're talking about mental health. Now, I know a lot of us are probably thinking, yeah, no, I ain't got nothing going on with me. And in actual fact, sometimes there is something going on with you, and by the time you do realize it and you actually need help, it's probably going to be too late. Which brings me back to a statement that I tell myself and my friends, which is asking for help doesn't make you any less of a person. If anything, it makes you resourceful. And that's something we highlighted on this episode today. Because I sat down with an individual by the name of Yevgeny, also known as Ray. This particular person literally took himself out of his comfort zone and came onto this podcast to share his story from the beginning to where he is right now. And to be honest, it's a moving story. And I'm honestly just honored that he even decided that he wanted to come to us and wanted you guys and myself to listen to his story, and hoping that he'll be able to help someone else, because that's the whole idea. And just based off the conversations we've had off camera as well, off air, it's amazing to how someone came from where he came from to appreciating life. But I'm not going to take you through all that. I want you guys to listen. Enjoy today's episode. So your name is actually Ray.
Yeah, Ray. Second name.
Second name is Ray. So how do you pronounce your first name? Because I was confused.
It's if you go Russian, then it's different. I'm not Russian, but
okay.
The way I've learned it, it's Yevgeny. Evgeni.
Yevgeny Ray.
It's been butchered throughout my life, so I'm just like, hey.
I can imagine.
I give the second name because it's like, I'm tired of hearing my name being butchered. But again,
like you're not gonna get it right.
Yeah, so usually I just introduce Ray.
Yeah. Alright, man. So Ray, thank you so much for being here. We have a mutual friend that brought us together.
Yeah.
I think this was fate, man. Like, I'm serious though. This it was fate. I didn't even think too much of it, but like when the conversation happened, and then he put me through to you, I was like, yeah, this has to happen. Yeah. So yeah, man. And even when I called you, you're really cool, man. I don't know why I expect an asshole.
Yeah, I'm usually a chilled person.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
Yeah. Now when I reached out, you're really cool about it, and you're actually so willing to do this. And again, man, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
So Ray, we're not gonna get into your other name.
Yeah. Let's just use the second one.
Let's just use Ray for now.
Yeah.
So tell us, man, Ray. Tell us about yourself, man. What do you do? What you get up to nowadays?
Well, individual-wise, I'm not gonna say I'm a gamer, but I used to do gaming a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just as casual. Used to write poetry. Don't do it much anymore. Once I started doing music, playing guitar stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of where I diverted my energy because I enjoyed that. Usually means of expression. That's where I was at.
Okay.
Very heavy on music. It's like
what kind of music though? What genre?
Anything that has guitars and drums in it. So metal, hard rock, indie.
Oh, nice.
The quote unquote white music, but it's what I've grown up with. So it's just, to me, it's normal, and I like the energy behind it, man. People usually like misinterpret the music.
Yeah, it is.
But it's like it's got a lot of energy, and that's the thing. It could really, like, if you're having a bad day or you just need to get hyped. Obviously, I also listen to hip hop because I'm exposed to it. But I'm like, on my own, I'd usually listen to that type of music.
Yeah.
It's like it's a relationship I've developed with it because it's helped me through a lot of stuff.
Acquired taste.
Sorry.
Acquired taste.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah, acquire taste. You also have to develop the ear because some people are like, I can't hear anything. So
I mean, a lot of times, I mean, I'm a hip hop head. I love hip hop. But at the end of the day, like when I'm alone, I have my own personal playlist of things that you wouldn't expect me to listen to.
Yeah.
And my music palette is deep, man. Like,
no, I think that's the thing with music. It's like it should be broad. Okay, I'm not a big fan of pop, but I'm not bombing on pop or anything.
Yeah.
But like rap, it's obviously because I used to do I had a poetic like background, so it's like the expressive writing, or you just interpret what the writer or the rapper says, and you're like, oh, I see what he's doing here, because you can interpret what the person is doing, or you see how they portray a certain message. So that's why I love rap. It's like the guy is basically painting a picture with words. Or like he's telling a story. So that's why I don't bomb on rap. I just like the other music because I play guitar, and it's been a means of it's gotten me through some hard times. So
yeah,
some form of loyalty.
At least there is some form of loyalty.
Yeah. No, but apart from that, academics, school stuff, work here and there. Big PC guy.
Yeah.
Like building them, like working on them. I'm more of the hardware guy. Like I enjoy building PCs.
Like from scratch, yeah?
Yeah, scratch, put parts together, stuff like that. And just, basic PC stuff, IT, whatever. But it's not a field that I ever wanted to do professionally. It's just something I fell in love.
Yeah. So you're probably the kid that was just breaking shit and trying to fix it, huh?
Yeah, I take stuff apart and you're like, let me put it back together. It would annoy my mom a lot. But she's like, why is this thing broken and whatever? But yeah, I just liked taking things apart and
observing. Because I can imagine like a lot of parts are just the screws are missing. You're like, yeah, but no, that's a waste. You're like, hey,
hold up. Oh, there's an order here, so please don't change it. But yeah, it's I still approach stuff a lot like that. It's a strategy, a mentality that I have, or like if I have something complex to deal with, break it apart. Or if you have something big to deal with, take it apart, see how you can, navigate through it, or how you can work through it to reach your end goal. So I still apply that same way of thinking with a lot. If it's a complex situation, then I do the same.
I mean, that's a smart way to look at it. I mean, it's not like it should be common sense if you think about it.
But what's the saying? Common sense isn't common.
So cool.
Like, yeah.
I remember my brother told me that once upon a time. I don't know what we were doing, and I was like, yeah, but it's common sense. Nah. Like, yeah, it's not so common. I was like, damn.
it may be common to you, so yeah.
Yeah, but not to everybody else, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. That's good. So music, man. That's another passion for you.
Yeah.
So you just picked up a guitar one day and you're like, I'm gonna get good at this, or I'm just gonna try it. Like, what is the background around that?
Like, surprisingly, okay, I don't have theoretical knowledge. I haven't gone. I still want to go, college or something.
Yeah.
But not like to like. I don't want to make it too academic. I want it to be more of a tool that I can apply or assimilate to the individual.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I'm trying to do. But like music, it started. There was always a guitar near me. Weirdly, like my brother, my cousin, just random guitars. Usually there would be somebody who wanted to play, and they just never did. And surprisingly, like everyone had it there. I was the one who took it up. I started playing, and
so
that's
the guitar was just there like for decoration purposes. Or?
You know, like the thing is, a lot of people, especially, it's not even them, it's just in general. People are like, yeah, I want to try this. We want to try something, and then like, bam, with a few months in, you're like, it's not worth the work. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. So it's the same thing. Like, picked it up, started playing, and that's how it basically started.
But you must have known you sucked, right, the first time.
Everyone sucks. That's the thing. You can't pick it up and be like, I'm going to be. Obviously, there are the exceptions where it's like, okay, there's somebody, this guy, he's special, he has the ear. Because I'm ear trained. That's how I learned, you play by ear.
Oh.
So I could discern the notes and stuff. That's how I learned to play. because music-wise, there isn't really somebody who played instrument. Like I said, it was just there for decoration. No one actually like religiously tried to let me master the guitar. And so that's where I started. I started playing. Later on, it's on YouTube. Then I got into bands, and then I was like, yeah, I want to learn like their songs and stuff. That's how it blew up.
So like you performed in a couple of high school gigs?
No, I only picked it up after high school, surprisingly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like grade 12. It was like supposed to be a matric thing. I was supposed to go to my farewell.
Playing the guitar, serenading the women.
No. Like, I was supposed, like, my mom was like, so you ain't going to farewell? And I was like, nah. Because, you get the cash, you to buy your suit and all that. It's like, that's where I bought my first PC and a bass.
Okay.
I started with bass. I love bass. I still love bass. That's why, you do the drop tuning with the guitar, and it's a lower tuning, and it sounds heavy, but like, that's why I was like, I ain't going. Let me get a computer instead and a bass. And I was like, that's where I started learning. I was like, yeah, I love playing bass. Because there were a few songs I was like, I loved their bass lines. And then I was like, yeah.
Let me incorporate this.
Let me do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, 18 years old and you're thinking about not going to the fair it was crazy to me at that time. When I look back at it, I'm like, yo, that's what everybody was anticipating. From grade 8 to 12.
Comes back to the individual I was in high school.
Yeah.
They say the odd bubble in. So yeah, I was like, hey, I ain't going, man. I still have my homies. Jonas was like my homie since high school. Yeah, so it was like they all went, like all my homies went, and I'm just like, even if you meet the homies I was with in high school, we were close homies, but if they ask you like who's the weirdest, you'll be like, hey, it's this guy. But it comes back to that, man. So obviously I'd go to school parties, if somebody's hosting a party now and then, but like if there was an event or something, I'm like, nah, I ain't finna go. It comes back to being an introvert and just being that type of individual where it's like you ain't trying to be there. But then it ties back into, if we start talking about mental health, where I learned that that's the period where it started. Like 10th grade is where it's only when I look back and I'm like, oh, it started then. So that's why I literally had that dramatic change where I was like, now that I look back, I can see where it all started. So it's from then, and then then it makes sense why I functioned a certain way back then.
I mean, it's weird that you said that grade 10, because even for me, I don't know, that's just the time where like I was a bit of a loose cannon, man. For me anyways.
Yeah, but I think most teens, there is that point where it's just they go on this whatever it is
spree.
Yeah, the spree.
But the thing is, I was always like the quiet dude. I just kept to myself.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, at least that's how I was at home. But then I don't know, something happened. I'm just like, man, fuck what everybody thinks right now. Like I'm gonna do my thing.
Yeah. Nah.
And obviously kind of rub people off the wrong way. Some people, but
that's, you see, it comes. We had the convo earlier. It's like you hear how old are you in grade 10? What, 14, 15, 16?
Yeah.
Like, what do you know about Because I'm not gonna say I'm an advocate because I don't do it publicly, but I'm like keeping your thoughts in check, or just thinking, or the way you think, your mindset. It can be very detrimental if it's in a negative way. If it's in a positive way, obviously you benefit from it.
Yeah.
Because like you have that energy, you have that drive.
Yeah,
but if you develop the negative aspect of it, self-destruction, you're careless, stuff like that, that's when it hits you and it could affect you down the line.
Yeah.
So even back then, and I'm not a parent yet. I don't even know if I want to be one. But you gotta keep your kid in check. Where it's like, how is he thinking?
Yeah.
How are you acting? How are you emotionally? Because it's stuff that people don't check in on you.
Not
like,
at all.
yo, how? Just and I'm not gonna blame my mom. Or it's like she didn't check on me. Nah, because it's only something that I learned where I'm like, yo, you really have to mental health, physical health. Physical health, you can see like, this dude ain't feeling well today, right? You can tell I need to take this guy to the hospital. But like mentally wise, unless you're a psychologist or somebody who knows, how the mind works, or like the psyche, if you want to say, it's the only time you'd say, okay, there's something off with this guy, or you don't act like this usually. So that's when the cues where you check, let me talk to this guy. What's up? How are you doing? Is everything fine? That's. I think you have to give the same attention to mental health as physical. You need to have that balance where both are okay, like great, exceptional, whatever word you want to use.
It's great, that balance, that equilibrium, man.
Yeah.
I mean, back to like what I asked you initially when I called you the first time. Yeah. But like I said, back to like initially the first time I called you, I was like, my first question. I don't even remember the question I asked you. I was like, why mental health?
Because I have, one is, after I've learned to deal with it.
Yeah.
I've met people through this journey of life, if you want to make it sound like a story.
Philosophical.
Yeah.
And all
but
that.
like I've met folks who've like, and it's weird how I've met them. It's just through somebody or whatever it is. It's still random where it's like you've met somebody who's going through that, and then there are times I've actually helped a few people out of it, and I'm like, then I hear you do podcasts, and it's not even it's not even me trying to make myself famous or anything.
Yeah.
But it's like that's when I realized, there could be somebody who was the same as I was, and they just don't know what they're going through or how they're processing it.
Yeah.
Just like like we're talking earlier, you'd be like, I'm probably the only one who thinks like this. But then there's somebody out there who's like, nah, I get how you're thinking or why you're thinking like that.
Yeah.
So that was my main goal, man. It's just, I think it's something that we should talk about more, or not like make it a topic, but like it's when the problem arises, we should be open to it. Like you're having some mental issues. How can we help? What can we do? What's wrong? Stuff like that. Because from experience, I've realized when I've approached a few people, and it comes back to, you're asking people if they're having the same thought pattern or they're experiencing the same, emotional stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I usually used to talk to like a lot of people, because I'm just like, am I the only one thinking like this? And to an extent, it was just me, because, everyone goes through a phase like that, but like mine was like prolonged. So I'm like, okay, hold up. Why am I the only one thinking like this?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That's why I chose, because it's something I've experienced
personally.
Yeah, and I'm like, if I hadn't gotten help, worst case scenario could have been the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario of like mental health issues. So that's all. Like, I just maybe somebody will listen to this down the line tomorrow, a year from now, and be like, there's actually somebody who's gone through this. And I'll just be like, you can make it through whatever that journey is. So that's why I chose that.
No, I'm hoping someone. I mean, look, man. We can only do so much, and if this is helping anybody right now, if you're going through some shit, obviously, like we said, we're not necessarily experts.
Yeah, I'm not experts, but
But we've dealt with enough to know that okay, cool. We can do this. We can go about this the right way, at least. Yeah. But back to what you said, man. You said everything started off in your grade 10 year. And can you elaborate on that? Like, what exactly happened, or what do you think triggered these feelings? That's a deep one. Huh?
Okay, yeah, deep. What's one thing? Let me just first, as an individual now, like after whatever, like getting the help and being a better person now than I see myself. Because people usually, you look back into the past and like, I wish things were the same as back then. But I'm like, nah, I don't wish things were the same.
Yeah,
because now it's when I'm like, when I'm appreciating life in general.
Yeah.
So, high school, cliche kid, bullied, different. And I was a damn big ass kid. I was like fat and stuff. But you see, that whole combination of like, you're already a different kid, you're fat, and you're just, you don't go with a group. And weirdly in high school, if you aren't with a group, you are, and it's not even just high school, society in general.
Yeah.
If you aren't with a group, obviously you'd be the outcast, or you'd be treated in that kind of way. So that was me in high school. Maybe still to an extent now, but now I can gel with people, like any zone, any topic. We can have a conversation about it. But back then, that was me. I still had the friends, like Jonas and stuff. I still had homies, but it's like from the internal side is that nah, I ain't the same as those guys. So I didn't know like how, because I was a person who obsesses about stuff and overthinking, yep, overanalyze, very critical about yourself. You did this wrong, you did what went wrong. You put yourself under that pressure. But I never knew how to, release. You gotta have some form of emotional release, whether you're crying or whatever. But like, I usually built it up. Then that's when it happened. Like, I don't know what happened. It was that holiday of grade 10, and just like, bam, something just broke. Like, yo. And weirdly, it's like I stopped eating and everything. I think I just changed then, because when I went back to high school, like grade 11, I was like a skinny ass dude. And imagine grade 10, I was a big guy, and then I come in, guys are like, yo, what happened to you, man?
Yo.
But yeah, so it was that's where I look back and I'm like, yeah, it started then. That's where it hit me first. But like I said, I didn't know what it was. I mean, till my early 20s, or till I got help and somebody's like, let's dig back how you think, how you thought back then. And that's why I started processing the stuff, and I was like, yeah, it started back then. Or that's the period I can remember. It could be before that, but you can just remember that far back.
Yeah.
So that's where I believe the biggest step was, or where it started.
Damn. I mean, at least you can dig back to, or at least you can recall what happened, or what exactly started all these things.
Yeah.
I know, like grade 10, yeah, like I said, like initially when we were talking about it, it was a weird time for me as well, man.
It's weird for every teen, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm like.
I don't know, the anxiety, and then obviously depression kicked in for some reason. I just don't know why.
The thing is, it's like I'm going to refer to society. It's like, we're all people. We're a community, we're a population, but people forget that we're individuals. If you get what I mean, like. Same as school, grading, whatever you want to say. Not everyone is smart or thinks in a certain manner. Same way as emotionally, as an individual. You probably won't go through the same stuff somebody else does in that period. So that's where I was like, am I the only one thinking like this, like back then? So it's that thing of you don't know what's going on right now. So the panic.
That's a weird way to look at it, man. Because I just felt like there was a lot of social pressures and all these weird things. I think they're all those contributing factors.
Yeah. It's a teenage life, man.
It's
a
teenage.
If anything goes wrong, people are always like, yo, he's a teenager, man. You're supposed to be. Teenagers are just wild, you that's the whole emotional phase. And like,
so emotional.
Yeah, dude, no, man. Like, if you look at anyone, you could go through your life and be like, damn, I was terrible in my teens. It's just everything that you were doing and stuff. So I think it's just that phase. But it comes back to like everyone goes through a different phase. Like, some people grow out of it. Some people might not. You carry some traits through that period with you. That could be the positive or the negative ones.
Okay.
So if you have that negative mentality about yourself at that age already, it could be something that you keep with you. You carry that self. You don't value yourself as an individual. So that's why it's like, you might be a teen, but like, I don't know how teens are these days, but like, you gotta keep yourself in check, like inside.
Yeah, man.
But like, it's that whole emotional phase.
Yeah,
people are just like, he's a teenager, he'll grow out of it.
Sound really dumb.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, like, I'm trying to compare us as teens. I mean, it wasn't that far back, but obviously technology has evolved.
Technology it plays a very big factor.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at them like, okay, we're exposed to Facebook. I mean, that was it. But then I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, you guys are emotional, and you have these apps at your disposal at any TikTok. And I can tell you, and they'll tell you exactly what's wrong with them. I'm just like, but why?
Yeah, no, it's true. But you couldn't be like, yo, back then. You're like, it's just, I think it's the exposure to information,
Yeah,
You're exposed to a lot more information. Like, you'd be surprised how kids are smart now. Like, damn, you're what age? I didn't think that when I was 7 or 8. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's that exposure to information where it's like they know, or you can read up about stuff. But then the whole self-diagnosis thing is not something you want to do. But like, you can read up and relate to something and be like, this might be the problem. So yeah, I think that's the thing. It's the access to info right now.
Yeah. Because for me, I just like calling out the hypocrites, in the sense that, yes, you're going through something, but you're using it as some kind of tool or some kind of thing to propel fucking followers. I'm like, yo, man.
Yeah.
Instead of using that as a means to help someone else, maybe, possibly, or even reaching out.
Yeah.
Using it for something way much different.
That is the thing about, and it's not only just mental health. It could be anything, any disorder or whatever. If you're genuine, you'd ask for help or something, but you could also exploit it to your advantage. You're like, hey, I'm this, man, help me out. I'm this, I'm not going to mention stuff, but like, you're in that condition and you want people to feel sorry for you and stuff. I was there as well. That's why I'm saying it. Yeah. But I'm like, you realize down the line, it's like, it won't help you. Eventually, it's an annoyance to you and everyone else.
Oof. Hey, man. Life? I mean, that's life.
Yeah, it's life.
That's life right now? Yeah. But okay, cool, man. So, grade 10, all these things started happening.
Yeah.
You were a fat kid.
Yep.
Went to skinny.
Yep.
So you were you're skinny till grade 12 till you finish, right? Basically, or
yeah. I
was
just
fluctuating.
Nah, I was usually I was skinny for a while, man. Yeah. Or now that I'm this size, it's normal. Like, I grew into it. I grew slightly bigger, but like, from the person I was, if you knew me before then, you'd be like, damn, because I meet people like now in my life, and I'm like, yo, dude, I used to be fat. You're like, I can't picture you being fat. You see what I mean?
You can't go back.
Yeah.
Really
but like, I've been like, ever since then, I've stayed like that size. I've not gone back to being obese or anything.
Yeah. So all these things were happening. I don't know if I'm not getting like into deep about that, but it seems like you went to therapy.
Yeah.
You go to therapy for this?
Yeah.
How long were you in therapy? For a minute.
Well, there is like, obviously I'm not a professional, but this was my journey. I first went to counseling.
Okay.
The counseling was like, nah, this guy needs to see a psychologist. So then I went to see a psychologist, and the psychologist was like, nah, I think you need to see a psychiatrist. So I literally...
Oh, wait. So there's a difference between a psychologist, psychiatrist?
Okay. From what I know,
okay.
Obviously, I'll keep on emphasizing it because I don't
call him out on it, guys.
So it's like, from what I observed, it's like, the psychologist can do like a diagnosis to an extent, but like, once you need like some form of medication or some extra treatment, or beyond their, should I say, qualification or something, but like, then they refer you to a psychiatrist, because that's when I needed medication and stuff.
Okay. So
bam, I literally went to like psychiatrist. So that started, first time I saw a psychologist was, you see, it started in grade 10, first year of uni. It hit me again, but then it was worse. Yeah. I only did like first semester. It's the first time I dropped out. Damn. But like, I only hit first semester and got that bad. I was like, bam, I needed to go see a psychologist, because like, I couldn't function as an individual. Like,
at all.
Yeah. Like, I would go to school and I'd be like, it's just a haze. You can't even think or anything.
So like, man, that's trippy, man.
It's something if you've experienced, you'd know what it's like. It's like you aren't there. You're there as an individual, but like, focus what you ain't there. You're just going through stuff. You're going through life. That's basically the way I describe it is like, when I was going through that dark phase, it's just like, is it you're living but you're not alive, or you're alive and not living? The two things. So it's like, you're basically just a living organism, going through. But being self-aware of yourself and stuff like that, you ain't alive. You're just like, I'm just living through all of this. So that's that period I was just living, bro.
And you're basically on autopilot every other day.
Basically autopilot. I know I have to go to school, but like, you know, to be active as a person, I wasn't active, like mentally or thinking or being involved isn't now.
Like we're experiencing like panic attacks or some form of anxiety.
The weird thing is, like, first Yevgeny, it wasn't a lot of anxiety. Like, it's weird. Anxiety hit me second, but like first it was just like it was depression, bro. Like it, and it's like, you know, I still try to find the root till this day. Like, what happened then? But like now I can't remember. But it's like it just happened then, and I remember I was like, it was just a nosedive.
Yeah.
And then worse, the bad happened then, and then that's when I told my cure. I was like, yo, I think I might need some assistance.
No, dude, man, I admire you for even acknowledging the fact that you have a particular issue going on with you, and not only that, you went out of your way to actually get help for it, which is something like initially we talked about. It's like, I don't know if this is like a black thing or just men in general. We don't like admitting to certain things that are wrong with us.
You know, and that's one thing. That's, if you ask me one regret I have, it's that where I was like, maybe the signs were already there where I needed help, and I just kept on like, yo, nah, I'm gonna power through this. And then one day I was just like, I can't make it through this. Cause like, nah, dude, I was like, worst case scenario, I was gonna die that year, like first, no lie. So that's why I was like, I'm not gonna reveal that stuff, but like,
that's conversation.
That's where like the cue was like, yo, nah, are you white? And that's what I was like. But as a dude, even till today, I still won't say some stuff if it's wrong, literally until I need it. But it's like, I don't know. It's just that you're being a guy, you know. It's still.
I mean, it's not as bad now.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean.
Like now, I know how to like thought-wise. If something comes up, I know how to like assess and be like, why are you feeling this way? How do you deal with it? You know, I know how. I have the tools to make it out of the situation. But like back then, like first year, I was like, yo, I wasn't going to make it through this year if I don't have some form of assistance. So that's how it happened.
Man.
A lot of people, some people, that's why I was like, I was actually second guessing before coming, because like a lot of people who know me, I haven't revealed a lot of the stuff. But it's just, you keep it to yourself.
Hey man, these are one of these times, I know, I get emotional, man, because it's like,
it's not even, I'm not saying I don't get emotional, but it's like, I don't know, have you ever had that numb feeling? But it comes with that thing.
Preach, man.
It's something that's the thing, that's the trait that I still have till today. Like, yo, somebody asks you, yo, you aren't gonna cry about that. Dude, I don't even remember the last time I cried, because that's one thing I believe, and it's not even just being a dude. That's a great release for emotion.
Yeah.
Like just crying, like, just bawling out. It releases a lot of stuff.
I mean, this is probably the first time I'm going to admit this.
Yeah.
But there have been like random nights where I'm probably like just up and then
just
ball out.
No, but look.
And I'm just thinking like, what the fuck? Obviously, I was thinking about something.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, it's like yourself, man. I never acknowledge certain things. Like, no matter how bad it is, I just be like, okay, cool. It happened. Fine. And I would never like process it emotionally, ever.
And that's something you have to do.
And then only later, probably like a month or 2 years, then you're like, oh man,
this happened.
And you're like, oh. And I never like understood it. I never did, because even in my relationships, I suck. Like, emotionally, I am not available. And someone told me that. I'm kind of fucked up to say to someone, but she was like, yo, you are not emotionally available. I was like, what does that mean?
I think that's, look, it comes back to, the crying thing is a good,
it's a good release.
I would say I envy people who are able to, ball it out, bro. I could have had the worst day, and you're at that brink, but I'm just like, nah, ain't nothing happening. But it's just that feeling.
Yeah.
You
know what it is. Yeah.
When I'm gonna use pain, because most people you cry due to pain, right?
Okay.
So that's the currency I'm going to use for crying.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it doesn't have to be physical, it could be emotional pain, right? So obviously emotional pain you cry as well. So when you reach a certain threshold, like you've gone through that pain so long where it's like it's something you become used to, or you get used to, where it's just like every day, every week, what it's something that's normal. That same feeling. Later on, that's when or that's how I got that numb feeling. I was just like, screw it.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah, I still laugh. I laugh about that. But like when it comes to expressing a negative emotion, that's when the numb feeling just comes in, because that's how I've processed emotions. If it's a negative one, it's like I suppress it. Like, there ain't no time to cry, stuff like that. That's just the mindset or the way I've programmed my mind throughout this process.
Do you feel like, at least for me, I always ask this question, like, my household, not to say like everyone was like hard ass or anything, but I don't recall a time where like someone like would console me or like tell me how like, oh no, it's okay to feel this way.
Yeah.
It's okay to cry. Nothing's happening. Do you feel like if we actually taught or told these things would actually be a little more different?
It's the weird thing. I was a super sensitive kid. I cried a lot. That's the weird thing. As a kid, if something went wrong, I'm crying. So it's like the opposite that happened,
And you probably got all the tears out there, so you're just like, nah, I'm cool.
Look, it was that stuff of like, where you're dealing with something and it's like, crying really won't solve anything. Or that's how I thought back then. Now I'm like, if you get the chance to cry, let it out, bro. Yeah. You're letting out all that built up emotion, which is a positive thing.
It is.
But like at that point where I was like, nah, you ain't got time for this, And it's, once you develop a certain, have you ever had that battle within yourself with multiple voices?
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not, trying to schizophrenia or
no, I totally understand. Yeah.
So it's at that point, I had a negative voice, which really overpowered me as the person. You have, as a person, you have that yin yang, where it's like you have to balance.
Yeah.
But with me, it's like, bam, the negative side really overpowered any, mindset or any, positive thing I tried to push out. Like, bam, I'm not gonna feel like this. I'm gonna make it through. It's just like that thought pulls. I'm like, nah, you ain't gonna make it through. So that's how it was.
Like every day, that's how.
It's the weird thing, like weirdly, I can remember, like, in my past, I can remember certain events, but like, if you ask me how much, like, if you ask me how long I went through that, like days was, obviously I can say months or like a year, but like, if you ask me how many days, I can't even recall. That's the thing. It became normal to me. That's the thing. Once something becomes normal, or it's like habit, whatever word you want to use,
becomes part of you.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just, like how somebody lives, you wake up, you do A, B, and C. It's not something you think about anymore. It's just programmed into you. It's the same way, if you think like that for a long time, it becomes normal. Like, this is how you think at the moment. You're negative, you're what. This is your thought pattern, or that's how you think. And that's what happened. It was like, that's the person I was back then.
Shit, man. Hey, man. I mean, it's kind of be dumb for me to say, to say I'm sorry or anything, but it's just one of these things that, as a human being, I guess you were meant to go through it. Like, do you believe in things like that? Like, when people say like,
nothing happens. Nothing's random. That's one thing I believe. Okay, look.
Like, has this thing made you like religious in any kind of way? Like going through all these things, man.
Look, I'm
gonna get you the religion.
Look, I'm not crazy, bam, whatever. But I'm not gonna say I don't believe in God or like, dude. I've been through times where I'm like, nah, as a person or that I'm not making it through it. So that's why I was like, I have that relationship with God that I know, like, yeah, you've gotten me through some. Because obviously you can say the universe got you through it, but like, I did not get myself out of that stuff. So that's how, like, I acknowledge the existence of God or whatever being you may believe in. But like, yeah, that's the reason why I would say people are like, yeah, okay, science, what. If it's true, then yeah, whatever. But my belief is, nah, there's like so much that happens where it's just like, this cannot be random. It can't just be chance. You can't say it's chance, but like, how much percentage of what was your chance, basically, you know, out of 100? What are the odds that this happens? It's the same thing as like, okay, you go through this, right? What are the odds that you would have gone through another path? I usually ask people that, like, do you think you could have ever traveled another path, or is this like a predetermined thing? Because if you could, why didn't you? And then you can say, okay, I made these and these choices, but even that, it's like, why did you make that choice, right? So like, okay, bam, you're at this crossroad, you have 10 million or a million choices. Why did you make that one? Is it just chance?
Are you familiar with that phrase, God won't give you anything that you can handle?
I couldn't handle it back then. So yeah, no, but I get what you mean. Probably it was something I was supposed to go through. So, but it's like, you know, I don't like, as a person now, I don't have like some negative energy towards God or the universe or people. Nah, I'm like, you know, I'm at that point where like, nah, I whatever happened it's the past, you know. How are you dealing with everything now? What are you doing now as an individual?
Look, a lot of us, not all of us are saints. You know, we've all done some shit. We've all gone through some shit. But at the end of the day, who you are now, right now, your character right now, that's what we care about at this point. Point in time.
Because it is. I mean, in the end, it's like, what person are you, or who are you after all this? You know, because like, did you learn anything from it? It's like,
that's the question.
You know, like, that's one thing. Like, my psychiatrist is like, he hit me with that once, and I was like, like, that's when, like, I was thinking, because there was a point where I obsessed a lot about failure. Because like, you know, I went through all that, so like, I missed out of like a lot of milestones, you know, that you'd be going through that age. So I hit him with that question once, and I'm like, yo, you know, what's your concept on failure, or just in general in life? And then he's like, it's only failure if you literally didn't learn anything from it. Because if you learned a lesson from it, like, yo, okay, this happened, you look back and like, okay, why did this happen? What did you learn from it, you know? Like, that's how I learned to deal with myself, or I can discern certain thoughts now where I'm like, okay, I'm thinking this way, why am I thinking this way? You know, you analyze whatever. But that's what he taught me. It's like, what did you learn? If you literally didn't learn anything from that experience, then you can say you failed. But like, if you learned something from it, then whatever ounce or how small it may be, if you learned a lesson from it, then okay, you could. It depends on the context, obviously. But like, academics, business, how many guys fail at a business? But you know, you learn certain strategies or how you can approach people. You learn something from it.
That's true.
That's the thing. If you learn from a failure, then there's nothing to be sad about or to worry about.
Okay, now when you put it like that, actually, did you learn anything?
Did you learn anything? But it's like, it's all about who you become, like, after all that. That's all I'm saying. Like, if I had been like at this point, and now I'm like, I hate the world, I hate everyone, that's a person I would not like to be, you get. But you know, now I'm like, I'd have gone through this, you know. But now I know, you know, empathy. You're more empathetic with people, or you can put yourself in somebody's situation and be like, why are you thinking like this? Or why is this happening? Usually, you know, it's when I talk to folk and I'm like, this is happening. I'm like, no, why? You see, stuff like that. So I took all those strategies and I still apply them. But I try to take only the positives of what I've learned through that, regardless of if it was a failure. Back to what did you learn? So I take all the lessons, and that's what I apply, like, till today.
Yeah, I mean, that's a positive way to look at it. But I'm also a fan of, you know, words are powerful things, man. You know what?
Yes, dude. Words are powerful.
Words are a powerful thing, man. I mean, it's something. It's what the weird thing is. I don't know if it took enough books for me to read to realize that, but it's something I always like thought to myself, like, why do I keep telling myself these things about myself? Because at the end of the day, even like imagine when I was studying graphic design.
Yeah.
Terrible. Absolutely. I suck.
But you don't want to keep on telling yourself, yo, I suck.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
You know what I was telling myself?
Yeah.
I'm going to become the shit within a year.
And okay, do you know what I'll throw it like now that you mentioned that? I'd be like, even if you didn't make it in a year, right? Just keep having that positive mindset, you know. It comes back to, let's say you didn't make it that year, you failed. Be like, this happened, let me try again. But you should always keep that energy check. I'm not saying obviously you'll have bad days, but like don't entertain them. Because if you make them your thinking habit, it will go the same. You would apply to your work or you know, your approach in life. If you have that negative thinking, you look at everything in a negative lens. But if you think like positively, and I won't say I'm like an overly optimistic person even now, but like I'm a rational person. I'm like, why would you think negative? Why would you think negative instead of positive? No, it's just stuff like that, you know, where you ask yourself, you had a bad day. How long are you going to entertain the negative thought? You see, it's stuff like that where I'm like, I try to rationalize anything that I experience or that I'm feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
But like, words have power.
Words have power. And something that you just said now about, because I always felt like these are some of the most generic terms people will tell you. Think positive, don't think negative. And you know, I have realized that, guys, human beings, we're processing thousands of emotions in a day. If you're gonna try and tell me to think positive on a daily basis,
that's unrealistic. That's
unrealistic at all. Like, dude, imagine something fucked up happened to you, and you associate that fucked up thing with the smell. So we can't have no control of the smell. Yeah. So imagine I walk around and I smell this thing. I'm like,
it's that day.
that day, yo.
No, that's the thing. Like the brain, we associate events with. Again, I'm not an expert, but it's just, you know, from observation.
Yeah.
We associate events with, you know, a certain color, a certain smell, a certain song that might have played. So that's the thing. The brain is very powerful, you know, malleable wise. Yeah, you can mold the brain to whatever you want it to be if you spend enough energy on it. So
So like, guys, don't worry about it. You're not like failing at process of being a better you when you have a negative thought or whatever the case may be. You know, it happens.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. You have to be realistic. Like, I'm gonna be positive day 1 to 306. Nah.
That's too much.
I think it's the ways. It's how you deal with the negatives, right? It comes back to rationalizing it, but I don't like using the word rationalize because some people say it doesn't account for emotion, whatever. But like, how you basically process like that event that happened. So like, I'm having a bad day right now. You just do usually say housekeeping, mental housekeeping. Which like you're like, so. Let me look at this dirt that I'm dealing with now. Why is it happening? What can I do? Okay, what will make me feel better? And I'm not like, I want a box of chocolate. Nah, like, okay, this negative happened. How do you get out of this slump or this negative space that you are in now? Once you're able to like approach any negative situation like that, and from experience, again, I'm not an expert. I'll keep on saying it, but like once you're able to you process the negatives like that. You're like, this happened. You basically, like I said earlier, you take it apart.
Yeah.
Look at the small pieces. Why this happened? What can you change next time when this situation happens? And you gotta be kind to yourself, bro. That's one thing I gotta emphasize, dude. Whatever screw up you do, you gotta be like, dude, you screwed up. Try again next time. But if you're gonna beat yourself up, ain't nothing gonna help you.
Yeah. Do you think there are levels to that shit though?
About what, beating yourself up?
Yeah, because it's like,
okay, there are levels.
That's a mad fuck up you can do, and he's like, yo, I don't
no, okay, yes, no, look, that's what I'm saying. Okay, yes, there are levels, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, the way obviously, right? Like, Okay, you failed the test. Yeah. That's a level. But then you hit somebody's kid or something. Oh, okay, that's morbid. Oh, that's dark. But like worst case scenario, you killed somebody, obviously. But I mean, even in like prison systems and stuff, how many guys do you always hear come out of church and they're more religious and that they develop the connection with God? You gotta forgive your past for you to move on as a person. I mean, even dudes who come out of prison are like, dude, you can't be. Yes, you messed up, dude. Worse, you really messed up. Yeah. God will probably, if you go to heaven, he'll be like, "Oh, you remember this?
Yeah, you did some crazy,
But like, I'm sure he wouldn't want you to torture yourself for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing behind forgiveness and what, right? It's that thing of like, it happened, so learn from it, move on. But severity. Obviously, if it's something severe, you're gonna have to learn your lesson. That's why you go to prison or whatever.
So, crime and punishment.
Yeah, but it's like either spectrum of it. There has to be a point where you either kind or you forgive yourself for whatever you did. It just helps you as an individual in the end.
No, you're right, man. One of the lines I used to thought that was corny.
Yes.
That it turns out actually it's not. But what I thought, it was. You don't forgive people for them, it's for you. And I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here with that shit. What do you mean? That motherfucker did me wrong. He did me wrong. I don't care. He should die today. But then, it's like you said, when you harbor these feelings, man, like, that person already forgot about what he did to you. Like, he don't care about you.
Or sometimes it could eat them up. Do you know that's one of the scariest things I would want to experience as a person. Let's say somebody wronged you in a very bad manner, and then they do something drastic because they were just obsessing about what they did to you. If you get what I'm saying, I really messed up with this dude now. But obviously, it depends on the state of mind you're in and your mindset, But like that could be something that drives somebody over the edge. So. But I think it is the thing of, it's for you, it's not. You. But in most cases, the guy forgot whatever. In most cases, they're like, what money do I owe you? But it's true, bro. There's really no point. You'd be pissed, you'd be like, I ain't giving you anything again.
Not at all.
Like, how long are you going to keep that thought, no. It consumes. Yeah, it consumes you. It's a lot of energy, like, I always say it's like, not say to people, but it's like, it comes back to that stuff of reflecting when you sit alone. Yeah. That's one thing I tell myself. It's like, did I just lose my train of thought? It's like, we were talking about like somebody not forgiving you, right?
Yeah.
We can move on. It'll come back. Let's move on.
Damn, now I lost my train of thought.
You can just, but it'll come back.
No. Oh man. Yeah, man. Look. But it's something that really, initially when I heard that line, I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. I really thought that way because I'm like, this person is here knowing what he did to me was wrong.
Yeah. But then they still act like
you're the mad person. You're like, yo, man, because now the narrative is gonna shift. No, I borrowed Petty borrowed me money. Now he's acting like a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't pay him back. You're like, no, bro.
You didn't pay me back.
You didn't pay me back. So it was like, the more I started to process that particular phrase, and I think it happened to me like when I turned 21.
Yeah.
I think that was like the biggest. I had this whole epiphany, I guess.
Yeah.
And it happened, I don't know. I was just in my bed staring at the ceiling. I'm like, whoa, wait. I get it now. Like I get it. I understand it because imagine the time I spent just thinking about these people and that particular action. Oh.
The thought came back.
Okay, there we
go. Yeah. It's like that's something I tell myself. You spend more, whether it's mental or physical, you spend more energy hating somebody than when you could love them. And I don't mean like loving it, like, I love you, but just the opposite of having a negative emotion towards somebody.
Yeah.
Because it really takes a lot to hate. Even if you see somebody, you're like, But if you're chilled and you're just like, whatever, you know, I'm not saying you love the person, but just the opposite of hatred.
Yeah.
Okay, it's love, but like just the energy, you know, you have a
Yeah.
more chilled energy, just like there is so much, and obviously it's not easy because it will come back to you like, that dude owes me, man.
Tim.
But you know, if you can develop that thing of like, once you let it go, you're like, it's been a year.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, screw it. I'm just not going to give him cash anymore.
Yeah.
This would like, it requires so much less energy than like you thinking about that person every day and just that negative. So I think it's always, man, there's really no positive to.
No, there isn't. Because I look at that, and then I started to like really look into like people who go through breakups.
Yeah.
Like that's emotional and physically draining, yo. People are losing weight. People are gaining weight. I'm like, what?
It's
this person that broke your heart, like, no, man. Like you don't need like obviously it's you can't necessarily tell someone to get over it. I always tell people get through it.
Yeah, get through it.
Because here's how like I said, words are a powerful thing, man.
You see words? No, hold up. Now that you mention it, look, let's picture get over it, right? That's basically like you performing a miracle to jump over something. Yeah. But to go through it is you literally experience it. Yeah. Like over it is like bam, it's over. Yeah. But through it's like you process it, you go through it, and like you at the other side, it's a more realistic way of thinking. I would never tell somebody, yo, get over it. Okay. How tomorrow you're like, because obviously that's the thing of telling somebody to get over it. It's like, yo, get over it now, because that's the thing. When you tell somebody to get over it, it's like pronto, it should happen now. But if you tell somebody to go through it, obviously they'll go through the motion, they'll experience it. Yeah. And that's usually a longer period than like, yo, get over it, right? Yeah. So that's it's actually
one of my analogy I really came up with. Yeah. I was like, I picture this, right? You getting over something. So picture yourself a runner. The problems are the hurdles. Yeah. You can only jump to so many hurdles in your life until you get tired and you break down. It's like, oh man, I can't do.
Then when you start stumbling over them.
Yeah, you start to start. Yeah. It's like you're a little weak and you're like, oh, these hurdles are too many. They're gonna start catching up to me. So when I tell people get through it, like you said, process that shit. Yeah. Go through it. Like
every hurdle will be like,
yeah. So getting over it, I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, right? Facts.
It's easier said than done. But yeah, man, the point is embrace that particular moment right there. Yeah. I mean, I'm just speaking from my own experiences. I really just had to be like, okay, cool. It's happening. It's happening, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. How I'm going to deal with it, that's really what's going to set me apart.
And now that you mentioned that, right, it comes back to getting over and going through something. Like, let's picture that getting over it was a realistic thing. If you literally got over it, you didn't go through processing it. What tells you that it won't happen again? Right? You didn't learn anything. But when you go through it, you go through the motions, you learn the lessons, you develop the tools. If it happens again, you see the red flags. That's the thing. Usually if you go through something, you know how to deal with it next time. By the time, like, if you get over it, who says tomorrow you won't have it, it doesn't happen again, and you're like, come on, man.
But I was that guy. I was the douchebag. I was like, man, get over it, man. So something about that shit happened.
Like, it's not even about being a douchebag, you know. Like, I've learned to look at people, like, from an individual aspect. Like, okay, obviously I can, let's say in a group, we're in a room with 20 people, obviously I can't see everyone as an individual. Yeah. But everyone I meet is like, I can't call you a douchebag. I don't know your train of thought or how you think, right? So like, and one is, I haven't gone through the same experiences that you have. So maybe even, let's say you went through something and you're telling somebody to get over it. Maybe you do know, like, you're gonna be alright, man, just get over it, right? Like, let's say, now I don't even want to say your girl left you. Something bad happened. Yeah. You caught an L in a test. You deal with, man. You can recover. You get. Yeah. But like, if it's something major, I can't call somebody a douchebag because they don't know what I'm going through. It's just you haven't experienced it, or it's not something you've processed yet. So like, because I'm not even a person on karma, but like it could happen to you tomorrow, and like, oh, now I know what this dude was talking about. And that's when sometimes they come back and be like, yeah, I get what that process was. So that's why even say with me now, if I see somebody going through that, I'm just like, hey, I know how to help you out. Or obviously not exactly, because that's the thing with like mental situations. It's never like cut and dry the same situation.
Yeah.
We're individuals, we all have different experiences. But sometimes you can see somebody going through something. There's some form of similarity where you can tell somebody like, why are you thinking this way, or why are you experiencing this? You teach them how to think or how to go through it, how to experience it. Hopefully not something bad happening.
I mean, I always had this thing. I would ask myself, like, how do I help someone who's going through these things, these emotions? I had a particular friend of mine back in the day, and she, to say the least, she was assaulted, man. She was assaulted, and there are times where she just have like these breakdowns, and she just call me, and now obviously I make that effort, drive to her, and sometimes we just sit in silence.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, should I be saying something?
Do you know what's the weird thing? Like, humans are really weird beings. Like, even that, it's like, sometimes it's just, that, I don't know how the type of person she is, but like, sometimes you could sit in silence, right? But just the fact that, there is somebody who's literally got me. That effort, she recognized it, like, yo, obviously I'm not her, but I'm like, I would recognize the effort that, yo, this person really came to my crib and sat here. And usually when it's something like that, we just sit in silence. You give the person time to talk. You can ask them, yo, what's up? But sometimes you just wait. Like, you sit with them. If it's something they want to get off, they usually open up. But like, just that, you're like, yo, this dude literally came to me. It's just that thing of like, there is literally somebody. Because sometimes somebody, like a person like, there's really no one out here looking out for me. Like, she could have been in that situation where it's like, this happened, but I don't know who to talk to. So that thing of you just showing up, she's like, it could make you feel better. Doesn't matter about what words you say or whatever. It's just like, yo, this person was here, man. They literally came to check me out. Sometimes you just need that reassurance where it's like, hey.
Yeah, man. And that was my conclusion, because I'm thinking, I guess just the fact that I'm sitting here, I think it's enough.
Usually, if it's something big, man, obviously some people take a while to open up. And a situation like that, it's not something you just, bam, you can open up about it. Because sometimes you have to open up all the wounds and scars to talk about what you've gone through. So it's like, that's where, you could also just sit there and be like, hey, I ain't got the power right now to tell you everything. And
because telling you that everything's gonna be okay is just one of those cliches. You're like, no, you don't necessarily know what's going on.
Like, one thing is, like, I've learned the whole thing of going through again, like recovery processes as people. Like, let's say you're in a bad situation, something bad happened. I think sometimes you set really unrealistic goals. You're like, yo, by next year I want to be good. Yes, you can have that goal where it's like, I want to be, you picture yourself how you want to be in a year from now, whatever process you went through, whatever negative thing you went through, right? But it's like, I think sometimes people forget that, like, yo, this could have messed you up so much that you literally have to reinvent yourself. You have to, basically, you have to look at that situation that you're dealing with. It comes back, you have to be comfortable with opening up about stuff like that. But it's like, I think now I'm ready to tell you, It's the same thing of, like, people going to therapy and stuff. Or guys even. That's the thing about it, dude. Your home, you could be sitting there, you guys are chilling, whatever you do, you're having a beer. That dude's going through the most, but he just doesn't have the energy. Like, he doesn't know where to start as a dude. Like, yo.
Yeah. How do I break it down?
I don't know how to do this right now.
I mean, because the thing is, you're smiling with this person, you guys are having fun, having giggles, and then like the next morning you hear some wild things. You're
Yeah.
like, but he was so.
But you're like, nah, that dude was chilled,
Yeah,
man.
man.
But like, hey,
And it's actually a reoccurring trait.
yeah, it's usually to, I don't even like using the word suicide, but it's like, it's usually freaking sad. Most of the time, people are surprised. They're like, "Yo, I was with that dude yesterday. You know, we're doing A, B, and C."
Yes.
But the inside,
Yeah.
that dude is like going through the most right now. You get.
So now the question is, guys, what is wrong with us? Because initially, even when I thought about this topic,
Yeah.
I was like, why do we as men allow ourselves to go through all these things, and and not actually even call each other out on it? And it boils down to, now let me just bring it back to Stone Age.
Yeah.
Let me bring that Stone Age mentality. As a man, you're seen as a protector, a provider, the big figure, the strong figure.
Strong figure.
Nothing can go wrong. But time has proven that shit goes sideways
Shit goes
every fucking day.
And like statistics, obviously I won't quote numbers, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you Google it, like suicide rate, men are the highest.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So obviously
think
there
I'll
is
check that out.
something about dudes not opening up or talking about whatever they're going through.
I mean, how many dudes like? I don't know. I was watching this particular documentary. Even like when you look at these documents of Epstein and all these people,
Yeah.
well, that's beside the point. But
That's another story.
that dude was just weird.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like, imagine, especially like, should I mention it?
Hey.
Certain cults, man.
Certain cults.
Cults.
Oh, cults.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some men, boys at that time, were being molested, and
okay.
they're being told that this is what happened. This is normal. So imagine this kid's gonna grow up with that same mentality. Like, okay, this is normal, and half of the time these are the most violent dudes you probably come across.
Yeah.
These guys are just reckless, and they don't even understand why they're like that.
Mm.
So it's like, fellas, when you start opening up one way or the other, I know it's not seen as manly, but that shit equates to now, what we're really getting into is toxic masculinity.
Okay, I don't want to say I hate that word.
Mhm.
But it's like, yes, I get the message behind what
Mhm.
people mean, but it's
Mhm.
like comes back to dudes opening up. And the same thing that you mentioned in the cult, like something happened to that dude, and he probably grows up, and that's he's used to that, so it's like it's normal. Right?
Mhm.
How long back can you check? Like maybe your pops is pops,
Mm.
they're dead.
Yes.
None of them ever opened up.
Ever.
So that's the same thing with us now. If you go talk to like a elder figure, most cases is they won't be the dude who'll be like, "Alright, man, what's wrong?" Emotionally wise, they won't be emotionally invested in like whatever's happening.
Yeah.
And okay, you could say it's the whole toxic masculinity, but I think it's so deep ingrained into men. Like
Yes.
it's just like, dude, like my pops passed away when I was like 6, 7,
Mhm.
right? I was raised by my mom.
Oh.
I still have that same energy of being a dude. I was having a debate with somebody the other day, and I would still tell my kid, "Yo, dudes don't cry."
Man up.
Yeah. But look,
Yeah.
I get what. Do you know what's the thing? Why I'd still want my kid, if he's a boy, to have some form of thick skin. Okay, yeah, dude. I hate like women go through a lot of stuff, but like as a dude, it comes back to there's no one who's usually there for you emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have thick skin as a guy, because like a girl can go cry to her mom and be like, "Yo, this is wrong,"
Mhm.
or any figure. Most cases when a dude goes, unless it's a lady, she'll be like, "Ah, what's wrong?" But you go to a guy, he'll be like, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?"
Bro, we're paid.
Yeah.
What? Like, he's like, yo.
So okay, yeah, I'll tell my kid just for the thick skin,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd still tell him, from a person who's gone through some stuff, I'd be like, "Yo, I'd still check in with you and be like, are you good emotionally? You know, I think the thing is we should have a manly quote unquote or male approach to dealing like with like men stuff.
No, definitely.
So I think that's what we don't know as dudes, how to get that common ground as men and be like, hey, what's up, man?
Okay, where do we start then? That's the question. How we gonna go about it? Because for me, I don't know how my friends see me, but for me, if there's something wrong, I'm gonna ask. Like, yo,
what's up? What's good?
You good?
But that doesn't mean that person will tell you what's good, right? Like, what's wrong?
Easy. Unless I'm probably gonna like keep on repeating it to a point where he's like, okay, you know what?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. But then it's also a thing of I'll wait until he's ready to share. But then what if that day never comes?
It's it's a complication with all this. Sometimes you could do as much as he did. And that's the sad part where, we lose people to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you really put in the effort, like, dude, what's up, man? What's wrong? And that's why, I've watched some stuff, where, fams have gone through, losing somebody to like mental stuff. And it's like, sometimes the person is just gone through that and they're like, do you know what's one thing you lose when you're going through that is hope. You're just like, there could be, there were days. Like I had two, surprisingly they're both girls, but like I had two, I used to call them lifelines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, lifeguard, whatever. They reel me out when I go. So it's like, when you're going through that, right, you need somebody who can be like, hi dude, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
They call you, or it's hard to develop. Like I said, dude, I had girls who I spoke to. But it's like that thing of I also didn't open up to people.
Yeah.
It's just like you can't beat yourself up if you lose somebody to that. Yeah, you might have tried the best, but that doesn't mean that guy or that girl will open up each other. Because like they that hope thing, those are the people who literally, they would be the guys who are like, yo, hope. Like there would be a day I didn't know that I would wake up tomorrow. But it's not like, it's just that anxiety shit. It was like, dude, I don't think I'm going to make it through the night. And then you have people like, those were the folk like, yo, it's just, sometimes the person just talked me through the night. And then you wake up and like, shit, and that's the thing. It's like hope. People lose hope through that. And it's the sad truth about it. Sometimes you can't save people, or it's gone that far where it's like, hey, I tried my best, but it still happened.
What you said, man, hope. It's I never really.
Do you know what's the weird thing? Hope isn't like, it's nothing tangible. It's like, but it's like the way I picture it. It's just, it's that thing of you have that in your mind. You can picture that tomorrow is gonna be okay. Like I'm just gonna summarize it like that. Obviously, you can have your own thing, but it's just like picturing. You have that. You can picture like, tomorrow this is gonna happen. But sometimes when you're in that spiral or whatever, you can't even picture what tomorrow is gonna be. Like, dude, if somebody told me a few years back, yo, you'd be going back to uni, you'd be doing so much better at it, I'd be like, you're lying, bro. Because I was just there, I couldn't picture myself ever getting out of that. Because that was my reality for then. Oh, I've gone through that for so long. It's like, this is what life is now. And that's the thing. It's the same thing like with hope. If you can't picture that, that's usually what you'd crumble to. It's like, I can't see things ever getting better.
Damn, man.
And obviously it comes back to, I'm not an expert, but like, I think that's one thing. Obviously, psychologists have different ways of but I think once you instill hope into somebody, like, right, you're like, dude, I don't know how you're going to tell them. I don't know what their situation is. But once somebody can picture things getting better, I think that's the first step. Obviously, there are times when you have a relapse or something happens. But I think once you believe that there is something good that's going to happen at the end, you'd keep on pushing through.
And it's a process, man. It's not going to happen overnight, And
but dude, okay, you can say that through that, if like from that side. But like, And it's the same thing of, you know, talking from experience. I would hear people like hammer that into me. Like, dude, it's gonna be hard. But like at that point, I'm like, nah, I cannot see that, right? I can't picture like what you're telling me. Like, you're gonna make it through what? Obviously, I made it through, but like in that,
it didn't seem like a realistic.
nah,
it just didn't seem realistic at that
it
particular
didn't seem
point in time,
realistic,
right?
not at all.
So you're like way into the deep end.
Dude, that's the deep end.
Damn.
But it's just like, that's why I'm like, you know, it's the same thing of telling somebody to get over it or whatever. It's like, yeah, or you can will yourself out of it, you know, willpower. I'm gonna make it through. Dude, when you're down there, it's like willpower don't exist. It exists to an extent, but whatever you're going through triumphs or overpowers your willpower. That's why dudes stay there. Like, I always ask people, like, if somebody from experience, do you think somebody who's going through that would really want to stay there?
No.
It would be dumb. Like, why would you want to torture yourself?
Yeah.
So when people tell people like that, obviously you're just trying to be helpful. I get, because some people, you know, you don't experience it, so you can't picture what the person's going through. So you try to give them that positive motivation, right? Like, you know, you hit them with whatever lines. Yeah, dude, you're gonna make it through. But it's like you can't picture what that person's going through. Whatever you're saying, you know, sometimes it's just like it comes back to you can't picture it, right? You like, now you could ask me, yo, can you picture something? Can you picture a goal or something in 5 years? Then I'll be like, yeah, I can picture it. You know, there are even days where I wake up and I'm like, you know, I can picture a thought or something that I want to happen. But it's the same thing of in that state, like you can't picture like that good side or the way out that you'd ever make it out. So
I don't know, it's like walking on eggshells, man.
Yep,
to be honest,
it is.
Because at the end of the day, when I was obviously some people I know were going through these things, these emotions, I would try my best not to be like overly positive, because sometimes it just seems unrealistic. Because like I said, people are in the deep end already. But then it's also a thing of, I also have to tell them the real. Like, dude, whatever it is that you're going through, these are the results. Yeah. Guaranteed. But I do not want to see that right now, bro. Yeah. Especially not for you. Because sometimes you see so much potential in the person, and then it's like, what can I do? That's the question like every other person will ask themselves. What can I do to make this go away or to make it that much better?
Like, I see it from your side, you know, from the outside. That's why I'm like, yo, dude, mental health is complex. It's very complex. But obviously, maybe doctors know how to deal with it. But still, if they've dealt with it, it wouldn't be such a big problem.
Yeah, it is definitely.
But like, that's the thing. Like, you could be telling them that, you know, whatever you're telling them, like that positive, you know, your
reinforcement.
And sometimes it's really up to this person, like themselves, like from experience, like there are days I don't know how or what force kept me going. Like, that's why I'm like, you know, you can ask me certain days, whatever. I'm just like, nah, I literally don't know how I made it through. But it's like, as an individual from my side, it's like, whatever you may say, I could also, you know, hear what you're saying, but that doesn't mean I can take it to heart or I can apply what you're saying. That's why I'm like, yes, that's the sad part about like suicide, you know. The family member will be like, yo, I tried everything with this dude. But I'm not saying it's the person who does its fault either, because I know sometimes you can't picture it, you know, like I mentioned. So it's a complication for both people. It's how I'm like, yeah, I can't tell somebody else something, you know, because I don't know their situation. Obviously, I could find common ground with somebody because I've experienced it. So I'll be like, why is this happening and what? But that doesn't mean I could save them. Let's use the word save.
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing about it. But I think, you know, it's also once you can open up, I think it's just that.
Yeah.
But it's a really sad thing, like.
Yeah, it is, man. Look, when I was on that deep end vibe, also like.
Yeah.
The reason I'm not that I'm hard on people, but the reason why I'm kind of also like a bit straightforward. I'm not necessarily a dick, but just me being me is the fact that I had to work my ass off to get myself out of that funk.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like
what? Yeah.
Because some of the things people don't even know. Like maybe one day, a good session, I will really like reveal some of the things I was doing. But I really had to get myself out of that funk.
No, dude.
And it was,
bro, look,
it was hectic, yo.
I agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
Look, you're gonna have to work your ass off, dude. No lie. Let me tell you, there were literally days where I couldn't go take a shower, bro. I'm just out there in the room. But obviously, dude, the whole thing, ambition, everything gone, right? I don't know, man. It's just one day. It's also something I don't want to mention because that's quite deep, But it's like there's just one day I was like, obviously I'm not giving the info, but like there's this one that like, dude, you gotta get yourself out of this. But it comes back to it's gonna be the individual to decide, because it comes back to, you can say everything, but if this dude's mindset that doesn't change, and I'm not saying your mindset will change overnight, because I get what position you're in right now, where it's like you probably can't even think anything positive then. So obviously, all I'd say is don't do the drastic part, just keep going through it. There's usually a silver lining, or you'd see that ray eventually, but like to make it out, you're gonna work, bro.
Yeah,
it's not even a lie.
Work. So even like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just going through those things and thinking to myself, okay, because for me, I don't think I reached that level you were at, but I was definitely at a moment where I also started to think, I do not see what's happening tomorrow. I can't picture the future at a particular point in time.
Like one thing is, I keep saying, everyone has a bad day. Everyone has a depressive period or period where they're depressed. It's normal. Like negative things happen, you hit this slump, right? And some people obviously don't make it out. For them, it's harder to get out of it. Yeah. But it's like what did you just say? Hold on. I was dozing. Wait, just repeat what you're saying. Shit, I lost my thought.
Oh man. So I was basically saying, getting myself out of that funk.
Yeah. Okay. Like maybe like your funk wasn't as bad as someone else's. Yeah. But then that's what I'm saying. Everyone goes through a period, right? Yeah. So like that's what I wouldn't, even if you're going through, let's say, a drastic situation, I wouldn't tell you like, yeah, man, the positive reinforcement, like, yeah, now you get over it. Man. You try to see what's happening, right? If they make it out, then it's obviously a positive, right? If you can guide somebody through it. But like, some people, it's like you'd have to do more than that. Yeah. So it's like, but I'm like, I don't discount anyone's funk, whatever they go through.
Because I'm like, I mean, obviously there are levels, but it's like, it's not something we should be going through necessarily. Yes, it's life, but it's not something that we should be going through. But it's happening. So for me, I'm actually the kind of individual now. I've become that individual where if anything, literally anything, is gonna bring me back to that point, I'm gone.
You're what?
Like, you're not gonna. I just distance myself from it because I'm like, I am not going back, ladies and gentlemen.
Nah, dude, look.
I'm just like, nope.
I could say that as well, dude. I do not picture going back to that. Because, okay, obviously I have some tools, but I'm like, if you could strip me, let's say like a hypothetical hell. God's like, bam, We're gonna go through that for eternity. I'm like, come on, man, you can't do anything.
You can be doing that, bro.
Like, dude, it comes back to, man, like the hope thing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you two scenarios, right?
Okay.
There could be two poor guys.
Mm-hmm.
This dude gave up on hope. This dude kept on trying.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is gonna make the best out of it, or who's gonna make it out? The dude who had hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the same thing of like, you can't tell somebody to do certain things. Get out of the slump.
Mm.
I don't know why hope has become a theme to me, but it's something that I keep on telling.
I like it, man.
Because it's like, the way thing is, I can't, should I say quantify? I can't like make you picture what hope is.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone knows what it is, where it's just like, you know that whatever happens today, I'm gonna make it out tomorrow. And that's why, like, the two poor guys, they're both in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. It came back.
Okay.
Look, two guys in a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
We could be in the same situation. We're broke, we ain't eating, what, right? But you believe, dude, we're gonna make it out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, nah, I can't see it go. I can't see making it out. I can't see myself, life getting better, what. I would apply that same thing. I can't picture it. You would keep that drive. You go, you'd make it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm like. Even the slump thing, somebody they can picture like, I'm gonna make it out. And I'm not saying this guy who's in the worst or who cannot picture it, or they don't have that same mindset. But it's just like, it comes back to the individual. We approach things differently. We think differently. It's like, you have that concept of hope. You hold on to it. So you're going to make it out despite what we might be in the same slump. I don't know how we can quantify hope, but I'm like, just that thing of like, everything's going to be right.
It's like asking you to explain what love is. It's like, it's a feeling. I don't know how to go about it. Like, no, she looks hot. I love it. Okay, that's it. But it's just, I understand. But that's why I'm like, I love that concept of using hope, because I feel like it's something that's like, I guess it means so little to some people, but it's such an amazing thing when you actually have it.
You know
what I mean? Like,
do you know? I think it means so little because most people can picture it, But I think once you've lost it and it comes back, you're like, you can see how big of an impact it does. Just that thing of picturing, like, the fact that I can picture tomorrow, that I can picture I'm waking up tomorrow, I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna be productive. That once you can get back to that, it's when you really start appreciating. Just that thing of you can picture things getting better.
Damn, man.
Like, you could lose your job and just be like, but another dude will like, nah, I'm gonna try again tomorrow. I'm gonna look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Just that drive,
Mm-hmm.
and it ties into ambition and stuff like that. Obviously, but like, I think that's the building block. It's just the whole concept of hope, where it's like, if you can picture things getting better, then you go make it.
Yeah.
But like, if you can't, then you probably like, not if you can't, but like, comes back to measuring the currency. Like, some people think hope is just we don't see it that big, but like, because it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like, you aren't stripped of it. And that's the thing when what happens there. I'm not thinking Black Panther thing, but like, when you go through that process, somehow you lose it somewhere. It just goes with it. Like, the process that you go, you lose that concept of hope. So like, to most people who have it, they can picture tomorrow, but this dude is like, I can't even picture the next few hours.
Yo, man.
But like, I think we see its significance once we lose it.
Yeah. It's you never know what you have till it's gone.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Oh man. But do you ever get you get annoyed talking about this every time? Because I feel like, sometimes, like yourself, man, I always feel like I'm going back to these things again. Obviously, it's what we, scheduled for, but it's always like, man, I also don't want to, I had that feel like, what if I get cracked right now in front of me? Like, I don't want that to happen. Do you ever, get annoyed when people always keep, asking these questions over and over again?
The thing is, one is a lot of people don't ask me about it, right?
Okay.
One is it comes back to a lot of people don't like talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so a lot of people don't ask about it, but the people who do ask, I'm not. It doesn't even annoy me because it's like, one is obviously, it could be like something. Maybe if somebody asks you about it, they're going through the same thing, right? So sometimes it's like, yo, I know this dude went through it, so I'm gonna ask him about it. But you know, you don't know that they're going through it. Then they ask you like, yo, dude, so you went through this, right?
Yeah.
What was your experience? What? Little do you know, they might be in that same phase right now, or they're on their way through that phase.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, okay, that's one thing. And two is, I've made peace with it, man. That's one thing. It's like, once you realize, you know, you stop beating yourself up about it, eating yourself up about it. It's like, it's something that not embrace. Should I say embrace? But it's like you're like, hey, it happened, right?
Mm-hmm. I embrace it.
And it's like, that's why it doesn't annoy me, because I know it's part of who I was. But thing is, I don't identify with it. I'm not like, it is me.
Yeah.
It was part of my journey through some point in life.
I like how you broke it down there. I do not identify with it. It's not me.
Because look, because once you're like, it is part of you. You take up the traits. So it's like, it's you as a person. And one thing that, it's just because I came out of it, is like, people, you'd be surprised how much you can reinvent yourself, right? Just like, from that period, it's like, yo, this was happening. And now you're this, like, because it's the same thing of, I can't remember a lot of stuff that happened, but usually it's like the traumatic stuff, like, but I'd ask people around me, like, yo, what type of person was I back then? And then people literally be like, you can tell the difference.
Damn.
So that's why I'm like, hey, it's a big thing, man. No, but it doesn't annoy me. I'm like, I'm happy to share, but obviously, one is like, back. I'm not all over the place parading. Because like, I'm not saying I'd lose the value, but one is, I don't think I'm one person who would just be like, bam, telling everyone you can. It's not the type of person I am.
Exactly.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want to share, but like, I'm not the type of person who'd go out, just like personality wise. I'm not gonna go out there and scream it out to the whole world. But if somebody approaches me and be like, yo, yeah, you went through what let's have a convo about why it happened. I mean, that's why I was happy to like do this whole thing, because I'm like, back to, I don't know if it was at the beginning, it's like, you never know, somebody else might be going through it, and they're just like, maybe I'm the only one thinking like this.
I could be
the only one thinking like this. But then you hear something like, okay, wait, there's literally a dude who made it out.
Yeah.
And you could be in a worse scenario right now. In the worst case, you're at the bottom, and then you can't picture it. But I'm also like, now it's like, I was a person down there, and I'm like, the weird thing is, you always hear about it. You'd hear people's stories like, the dude made it out, right? But you're like, I don't know him, what? But like, maybe somebody I'm close to would be like, if they knew the type of person I was, they'd be like, yeah, this dude made it out of it. So that's why I don't get annoyed about talking about it, because I'm like, you never know what phase somebody's in, and they see like, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, I'm not just going to tell you that it's not the end of the world. You still have to put the work in. Like, if you're trying to get through it, but I'm like, yo, if you put the work in, you'd make it out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't annoy me. No, not at all.
I mean, I just had to ask.
I get what you're asking, but I'm like,
it's like I said again, man. I mean, we should. I think we established enough to know that, I won't say life is not unfair, but a lot of unfair shit happens in life. You know what I mean?
You just dealt certain cards, my dude.
Look, and the fact that you're here sharing what you just shared, it really says a lot about you as a character, as a person. I don't know how you were back in the day. I'm obviously, I am interested to see how to hear about it, but it seems like you really came a long way, man. And I'm not just saying this because I'm on the podcast, whatever, but I would say this even off air.
Yeah, no, thanks, man.
I admire and I look up to people like yourself. Like, this shit is not easy.
Like,
it's not.
It ain't. But do you know what's the weird thing? like, I don't know if you remember asking me, like, do I do like some talking or some mentorship? I think you asked me
Yeah, I
about it.
did.
And it's like the reason why it comes back to, yeah, okay, I'm willing to share, no problem, right? But it's like I made, like, you know what my first goal was when I got back on the path, like, being a functioning individual.
Yeah.
I just mean like functional, like you have goals again.
Yes. Everything seems to be on the up and up.
It's on the up and up. Like my first goal was I need to finish uni.
Okay.
It may sound simple to people who've made it out of it, but like, okay, obviously uni ain't easy. We can all agree to an extent. But like, if you put the time in, you can make it out, right? But like the time when I was there, I even if I put the time in, I wasn't seeing results. But then again, I was focusing on a lot of stuff back then. Like I was dealing with a lot of stuff. That's just like, that's the challenge, that's the thing that I left behind. That's literally that's my first benchmark to see if I really made it up. Obviously, I'm out here, right? I'm a better person, but like to me as an individual, that was my first goal. I think once I can prove to myself, obviously I'm final here, so I'm gonna make it out. But it's like once that's the thing that I told myself is where I proved that that I'm a better person. And I'm not like comparing to anyone, but like to the person that I was back then. So that's like my thing. But like I still just don't believe, I'm like, I can be the dude to tell somebody like, hey, A, B, and C. Nah, what be the whole mentor thing. But that's one thing I talked to Jonas with. It's like, I was telling him about it the other day. It's like, dudes, like as men now, and it's not even just men, like the future. One thing we like is, and I'm not even bashing pops or dads, they're like awesome dads in the world, obviously, the dudes who take up, like, you learn a lot from your dad. But like, what about the dudes who haven't had, or who didn't have that dude who like, because I think that's one thing with guys, where we have, a lot of emotional stuff that we don't know how to deal with. Because you didn't have a guy to tell you. Because I mean, your mom can tell you stuff, but as a dude, she can't relate to an extent. And that's why I'm like, I'd really like to push mentorship, like just for dudes who are like, I haven't had like a positive figure. Because that's one thing I realized. Obviously, I found them in other means. There's some guys I look up to, still talk to them. But it's like, you need that physical dude where you can go to them and be like, this is how I'm thinking now, this is how I'm feeling. And that's why I would really like to push some form of mentorship. But it's just, I don't see myself at a level yet where I could be like, I want to mentor somebody, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, when it happens, it's like, for me, like when people like talk about certain things like in the future, I'm just like, hey man, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, but I see it happening, man. And this is probably just the catalyst that you need, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That dude, I was having second thoughts about this, but it's not because I didn't want to be on it. It comes back to you're exposing a lot of yourself. Like, this is going to be out there. And I was literally thinking like, is this a good move that you're making? But then again, I'm like, that's the thing that literally like pushed me to do it. I was like, there could literally be somebody who just needs to hear this right now. And I'm not saying like it's a miracle, but it could be that catalyst where it's like, if I put the work in, if I try it, I'm gonna make it out. It's not the end of the world, you get. That's what literally like, now I can skip out of this, whatever feeling. So that's I was like, nah man, that's like the main goal. I was like, nah, this could literally help somebody.
Damn man.
Yeah. Because look, we could say, fantasy, or not fantasy, but like cliche, but the evidence is there that a lot of people are dying to mental illness and stuff. So even if we don't know what it is, sometimes it's just the way we think, or how our outlook at life, like that moment where you're at. And when I was saying like, somebody can tell you stuff, but you, like, let's say me and you, we knew each other like for a long time. you would tell me like, yeah, but I know you've never gone through this stuff. Maybe you did, but you hid it from me. But from my point of view, is obviously you didn't go through it because I didn't see you go through it. But like, if you can see somebody who's gone through it, obviously they don't see me, but they hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, if you have the proof, it's like it reassures you like, yo, everything's gonna be fine, man. Or it's just somebody's telling you like, yo, it ain't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Whatever situation, whether you don't know what tomorrow brings or whatever. It's just there's somebody who told you like, yo, I'm not even commanding people or anything. I'm not saying like I'm the figure. I'm just like, because I'm all over the place, but I'm sorry, man. Comes back to the goal. That's my benchmark to I've made it out, right? And that's why I'm like, I can't tell anyone what to do. I can just tell you like what I've gone through. You see that difference? I can't give you instructions A, B, and C. Maybe I've said some stuff that sounded like instructions, like this convo, but I can't come to you and be like, nah, just do A, B, and C and you'll make it out. Nah. But I can tell you like my process, like how I went through it.
Yeah.
And if it has to be a mentorship thing, it would be after I reach that goal that I've set for myself. That is my first goal. Like that, I can become a functioning individual again. So yeah.
So, hey man, you have my full support. If you need help with anything, as far as setting it up, hey man, we here. Jonas, if you're listening, because this was a long session actually.
Yeah, no, you can cut through it, right? You can filter through it. I was really not supposed to
dog
say
sounds
that.
out of there. But hey, this was something really it's one of these conversations I have been anticipating when I started this podcast.
Yeah.
As far as when am I really gonna let people know who I am? Yeah, I'm goofy as fuck. I laugh at a lot of things, but it's like there's also a flip side to me.
Yeah.
And it's to have someone like yourself to come on and just also bring that out to some degree. I was like, hey man, it needed to be done. It needed to be had, and I'm only hoping that more of these will come my way. Actually,
Maybe
I really do.
Yeah, nah. But I think I don't even know. Somebody might contact me after this, but I didn't give any number or contact details.
Now we're gonna put your handles.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're on social media though, right?
I just told you earlier.
No, but like, look, for anybody that's listening right now and just maybe wants to reach out to you and just pick your brain on certain things, man, how would they be able to reach you?
Maybe I'll post some stuff. Maybe I'll go create a handle and then I'll post them. or I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
I'll probably establish stuff. Like I said, I don't mind talking one-on-one thing. One is I can't say I'm a therapist. I'm not an expert. I maybe said that like 10 times now.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. I just wonder, I want to be clear about it. Like, I can't tell you how to do things, but like, we could talk about it. I could help, see how you can start or how you deal with it. So I don't mind anybody picking my brains apart, not literally, of course.
Yeah,
but like, yeah.
Calm down. Calm down, everybody. No, but like with you, like I said, man, for you it was really practical. Like, you went through it as opposed to someone who just theorized about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can read about people's stories and be like, oh man, that's fucked up, that's sad, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But it's so much more to that and so different as like when you're actually going through something. It's completely different.
Yeah.
So different.
The experience, it's not this. I'm not even gonna quote stuff, but it's like it's different when you experience something. It's always like that. You can read about it, but once you experience it, it's. I'm not going to say it's more genuine, because somebody who writes about it, maybe they've seen enough people go through it, so that's why they write about it. But I think it's still not the same as somebody who's experienced it and be like, you can see or you can hear that. Yeah, this guy can give you the A, B, and C of what happened. It's not the same person as somebody who can just write the theory. Yeah, these are the symptoms or whatever. Because it's not always the same. That's the thing.
Yeah, man. Nah, man. But dude, I don't want to hold you up for too long.
Oh, what time is it?
Damn, 8, not 28 past 7.
Yeah, no, it's chill.
It's chill.
Yeah.
Nah, but I appreciate you so much for coming through, man. And I really hope we can do this more often, actually.
Hey, if the opportunity ever arises, I don't know.
Hey, man, reach out, call me. Okay, to be fair, yes, I'm not based right now in the city, but I'm always going to be making that trip down here from time to time. Actually, just for the sole purpose of my podcast, really. That's why I'm actually here. And also the other extra things, which is just a bonus for me. But this is primarily my focus, why I come back from time to time.
It's worth it, though, right?
I mean...
yeah, no, man. I don't mind, like, I don't mind ever... Even, it's not even just me when I come. Like, if you ever need,
yeah, man,
you showing up again, it won't be a problem.
Not at all.
Maybe I'll be open to reveal some more, but hey, not yet.
I like this was just like this was a pilot.
Yeah.
For everybody else, because I don't know. Once we really start getting into it, I think people are gonna start shedding tears for us, man. Because it's like, yeah, we didn't know these guys are these.
You know what's one thing? It's not even about feeling sorry. I wouldn't want somebody to be shedding tears about this, It's just, rather it's you... Okay, there are some people who are emotional about stuff, so obviously, but it's like, the triumph is what you should, be...
more focused on.
Yeah, more focused on. It's like, the dude made it out. Or it's not just me, but like, there are so many people like me who've made it through a very dark place, dark period of their life, and it's like, I'm just one of them, and maybe I'm the only, like, one of them who made it public. But like, there are a lot of people that I can be speaking for, like, the fact that I made it out is what I want people to be like, that dude, that's what I want you to remember, not like what this was, you see. So I wouldn't want anyone shedding tears. The dude made it, celebrate.
Yeah. Which boils down to who you are today, who you are.
Yep.
That's all I care about. That's all that matters, anyways.
But the thing is, you keep growing, and I think, like, if I can tell you one thing is, I haven't revealed my age. I also don't want to reveal my age. But like, people who know me will know. But it's like, whatever it is, man. Like, in a nutshell, I can, like, if we could, like, age, like, define my age based on the person I am now, I could say I'm only 5 years old, because I've only recovered from this like 5 years back. But that's when I started getting the help. I saw the way up.
Okay.
It was the first year of uni. I was like, no, 4 or 5 years ago. That's literally when I started living and being alive. So that's why I'm like, that is my current, that's why I'm like, I'm still growing.
Yeah.
I literally just started now. Because, the thing of people looking back and like, I want to be the person. I was like, nah,
man.
This is the person that I'm proud of now, I'm like, yeah. So I just started now. I'm going to keep growing. This is the starting point. So hopefully things stay positive and some good turns out of it.
Yeah.
A lot of good, obviously. But like, yeah, man, that I keep emphasizing growing, because if you, like, the age thing, I only see myself being 5 years old as this persona or this person. So I see some growth within myself.
Nah, man, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if I should say I'm proud of you, or
don't worry, man. The energy is within, but it's always good to hear somebody, say it.
Nah, I'm happy for you, bro.
I'm happy for you. Much appreciated, my good sir.
Nah, man, we're gonna be doing this a lot more. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, do whatever you can to get this podcast out, man. We're trying to do bigger things, better things. I'm not gonna make any promises anymore. I realized I'm not gonna announce these moves anymore.
I think you still have to, man. I think it's probably just the thing of expectation, where like,
probably.
Yeah, but like, you gotta keep pushing, because I found out about it from Jonas, where he shared his his link on his WhatsApp. So I was like, that's the first time I was like, let me check this out. And then I asked him about it, and he's like, this guy does a podcast. And like I said earlier, I've always wanted to do one as well.
Yeah.
But then it's like, he told me about it, and I was like, yeah. So I've always believed like we need a local podcast. Like, obviously there's radio, but it's not the same thing.
You just need that voice. Man.
Yeah, just so it's. I'd say, man, you should keep going. I was just surprised you don't have a lot of subscribers.
You told me the other day. I was like, well,
yeah, no, because it's. I'm surprised that a lot of people don't listen to it. Because it's actually cool, man.
Yeah. Nah, thank you so much, man.
No
thank you. And to be honest, it's just these small things that people say to me that really just. Because look, last night I was so nervous because I'm like, man, I didn't do this for like a while. I don't know if I'll even have if I'll be in the mindset or like be able to ask the right questions, or like just be, will I just be staring at this guy? Will there be an awkward pause? I didn't know. And then obviously this morning I was like, man, I've done this way too many times. I'm like, nah, this is nothing new to me.
And I think that's the one energy about, just like even now, like I'm usually not a person who'd be like talking on mics and stuff. No lie, I'm already nervous to talk on the phone. But like, but it's like
What you want?
But it's a good space.
Yeah.
I don't feel nervous, so I'd say you gotta keep it up, man. I mean, it's not like me being like from you gotta keep it up type of thing. It's just I think it's something that a lot of people would enjoy. Because I listen to it yesterday and I was like, hey, I literally even subscribed.
Yeah, I got another one.
No, but hey, I think we need a podcast like that, man. It's dope.
No, I'm definitely going to continue to build something. And this is not necessarily just, maybe it's for my own selfish reasons. It's for me personally, because this is, like I always told myself, everything that I'm going to do, everything I've told myself I'm going to do, I literally have done so far. So I have accomplished, like yourself, I have accomplished certain goals.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, I'm here. So like, what's next? And that's what I'm always looking forward to. Okay, I'm gonna do this. And one of the good things is I'm taking my time with it. Cause initially I'm like, oh, maybe they only listen because I don't have visuals. But I'm like, man, it's gonna work out. Cause if I had to tell you how this all came about, this literally only happened because of certain individuals who saw what I wanted to do and legit helped me. They didn't ask for anything. They just asked me like, yo, do you need this? I'm like, yeah. Boom. And to this day I'm grateful to them. I shout them out every chance I get. They know who they are.
No, but
I love them for it, but
I can understand why they supported it. I mean, if I knew you and you were like, you should, I'd be like, yo, what do you mean? Yes, you should do it. Obviously.
Yeah.
I think the only thing is, it's the patience of, the numbers. That's what usually gets to you. But it's like, if the thing, that's why, like you said, you don't want to, I don't want to say it, but like you don't want to share and all that. You don't want to be more active about it. But I think that's where it comes in, where you should start pushing it. I'm not saying like you push it to everyone, but I'm sure you have a social platform, obviously. But
it's decent.
Yeah. So it's like, I think you should just keep on plugging it, man.
Okay.
Because like numbers will grow. Because I'm sure there are people who have, like, there's a topic that you will mention one day, and somebody's like, yeah, this guy's talking about stuff that I've been thinking about, and it's good to hear somebody talk about it. Somebody give me some advice about some stuff. So yeah.
What makes it even better is that we're the average Namibians, you know what I mean?
Right?
There's nothing special about us. We're just like, oh.
And that's the thing, the average person talking to average people.
Yeah.
I don't like using the word average, but like that's what we're trying to
we get it. We know what you
mean. No, but the ordinary person.
Yeah. Okay, rather ordinary. The ordinary person. This is just for us, guys. No one else. And thank you guys for tuning in yet again. Ray, how can I say, man? Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Yeah. Happy to be here. Enjoyed the sesh. It's just like having a convo, so I ain't got a problem.
Yeah, so guys, don't get nervous, man. But thank you guys for tuning in, and till we see each other again. Peace.